You are watching Fugitive Red-Eye, and as per the weekly usual, I am back with another Red Dwarf episode review for the latest episode of Red Dwarf Season 11. This episode I actually think is my favorite of the season so far, Officer Rimmer. Now that's probably because, as I did previously mention, my favorite character is Rimmer, so this episode was definitely a very Rimmer-centric episode. We begin the episode with the crew on Starbug talking about dreams, with a very funny conversation about dreams that I definitely recommend you watch. Obviously the episode is fantastic, but yeah, definitely, I'm not going to give that away. I'm not going to give away all the jokes. I am definitely going to be spoiling major plot elements, so if you care, you may not want to watch this one. There's a lot of spoilers. But anyway, after their conversation with dreams, they stumble across yet another ship. I've noticed that's becoming a very common theme with this series. Again, I think they're kind of going back to the Monster of the Week thing, although this time I think it's more Ship of the Week. Again, not a problem, I'm all for it. I loved Series 3 through 5, so this is all great. But after that, the captain of the ship turns out to be bioprinted, which is a new technology that we get introduced to, which prints people out of stem cells. Kind of like a printer, obviously. It's literally just a giant printer that prints people out. Now, with the bioprinter, this captain, he basically sends out a distress call to Starbug, letting the guys know that he's in danger. Now, Crichton informs the crew that the closer they get to that ship, the worse off they are, because if the ship gets too close before it blows, they'll die. However, if it blows before it gets close to them, they'll be safer. So Rimmer, being the weaselly coward that he is, launches a mining torpedo at that ship, trying to destroy it. However, he inadvertently knocks off one of the engines and sends the ship out of harm's way, basically saving the life of the captain. Now, because of that, the captain gives Rimmer a promotion. He finally becomes an officer. And then after that, he actually becomes a lieutenant, or lieutenant as the British say, which is higher rank than an officer. But in the episode, of course, Rimmer, with his new power, decides to separate the ship from regular crew to officer sections. So he built officer sections all around the ship, making the regular crew elevator intentionally shitty, where he gets a nice, pampered, posh elevator, as well as he makes it so that he also makes an officers' club. Now, he basically stocks the officers' club with bioprints of himself he uses with his own DNA.
10 seconds to weapon.
He would have printed a lot of other people, however, Lister cleared up the bioprinter so that he couldn't print anyone out. Of course, that was a mistake because Rimmer prints a bunch of himself.
Weapon pads ready.
And because of that, you know, obviously, there's a lot of tension between the crew, and Rimmer, trying to get Lister and Cat out of the officers' club because they just kind of barged in there, tries to make some bouncers of himself to get rid of them, but he accidentally ends up making a giant, deformed Rimmer monster, which goes around the ship, absorbing all the Rimmers that he's made to become an even bigger monster. Now with that, he basically gets trapped in the officers' corridor because there's a little gate in between that and the regular people corridor, and of course Lister and the Cat use that to their advantage to make him resign his rank as lieutenant, so that he becomes a second technician once again. So after that, they let him into the normal corridor, because obviously the monster was in the officers' corridor. But then they use Rimmer as bait to lure out the monster, and they blow it up. However, we don't get to see them blow it up, which I was a little bit disappointed with. Basically, they distract it by telling it needs to make a to-do list, and then they tell it, you need to put the last item on the to-do list, or the last thing you're going to do on the to-do list. And he's like, what's that? And it's like, dying. And then it shows them cocked bazookoids, and then they're about to shoot it, and it goes to credits. Now, I understand special effects budgets can be kind of tricky, so I understand why they didn't blow it up, but it would have been cool to see. But regardless, I do think that this was the best episode of the season so far, and I look forward to next week. And again, this has been Fugitive Red-Eye, and if you enjoyed, let me know. Have a great day.